The appraisal. Who should be concerned about that? Short answer, easy answer. Everyone involved in the transaction, buyer, seller, and the realtor are all concerned about that. Why is that? Well, a quick note about what an appraisal is and its purpose. When the buyer goes to buy a home, unless they're paying cash, and in 80 to 90% of the cases, maybe even higher than that in some areas, it will be a mortgaged deal. The bank wants to make sure that their investment, lending the money, is protected. So they send out an appraiser to make sure the buyer is not overpaying for the home. The reason that is the case is because if the worst happens and the buyer doesn't pay the loan, it goes into default, and then the bank has to take the property back, they want to know they can liquidate, get rid of that property as soon as possible with minimal financial risk. So that's why they'll be tight on the appraisals the less money down that there is. With 50% down, less of an issue. 5%, 10% down, now the appraisal is a bit of an issue. So from the buyer's perspective, they don't want a short appraisal, because if it's short, say $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, the buyer has to have just about all of that money in cash to make up the difference. And of course, from a seller's perspective, they don't want that either, because now they could get less money if the buyer doesn't have the extra money. And most buyers probably do not. What does a good agent do? They negotiate, if there is a short appraisal, how much the buyer can contribute, especially if there's runaway pricing. What do I mean by runaway pricing? If there's multiple offers, and sometimes people get auction fever and they offer to pay a price that gets a little wacky, meaning high. So you want to protect that as much as possible. So no one wants to see a short appraisal. That's the main reason why banks do have an appraisal, to make sure that their investment is protected. They're covering themselves, plain and simple. Any other questions? Reach out to me anytime or go to my YouTube channel, Brian.Marino, The Real Realtor.